If you're going to garden, you want to be observant. A lot of what helps save a garden is just seeing it every day. You know, like if you have potatoes, if you walk through the potatoes every day, you're going to catch those first few potato bugs. It's just easier, you know, to make it. If you're going to do it at all, then there's ways of doing it that make it so it's pleasant. I take a cup of tea, I walk through the thing, I might tie up something.
And my good friend Lilia wanted to introduce me to Leni because she, and I quote, said, "I think she's you, but old." And so she brought me over here and we hung out, and I had some canning questions, and Leni is a great person to talk about that with like how a pantry actually works. She's a wonderful pantryist.
I think it may be apocryphal, but I have been told, as they say, that most Americans don't have 3 days worth of food in their house. And I find that so sad. I've got a year's worth of food in my house.
Oh gosh, that smells good.
You only got to pay your rent once a month, but you got to eat every day. So if you're adding layers to this everyday experience that are frustrating, you're just making your life more miserable. I have flour, I have butter, I have canned milk, I have meat, I have pasta, I've got canned tomatoes. It could even get to be a boring diet, but it will be a diet that is based on what we like to eat, what we can cook, and what will keep us healthy. That's what I mean by home provisioning. Braided intersections that happen if you braid the whole thing. Let it come.
Yep, I got it. I hate pressure canning. I am neurotic enough to be afraid of it. Not actually the device itself. Conceptually, it gives, I don't know, it just gives me a weird tingle.
I'm going to break that out.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something that we'll be doing.
My husband's name was Kip Sorensen. And he and I, when we got together in fall of '74, we first lived on a farm in northeastern South Dakota. And I felt confident because I figured his grandparents, my grandparents, certainly my great-grandparents, had all been farmers. Almost all of us, that's all we were farmers. We all knew this stuff, so it wasn't rocket science. You just had to figure it out and experiment with it. My brother-in-law, who was a butcher down in Del Rapids, he gave me a brochure, which would have been kind of one of those USDA brochures from, 1952, with the guys in the white hats, looking very proper, but it had the instructions in it. One night at 10 o'clock at night, our friend Gene Elsner showed up, and he had just shot an antelope. And he knew that he could not take this antelope home to his wife. So he said, "Do you want this antelope?" And I said, "Well, if you can hang it in the basement, I'll take it." So he brought this antelope down. It was about 65 pounds of animal. He brought it and he hung it up in the basement, up from the rafters, and hung it for me. And I put a great big galvanized tub underneath it, and by God, I skinned and gutted that animal. And I got this animal dressed out and hung, and had all these bones. I decided I'd make broth because this USDA bulletin said that the meat will can better if it's canned in broth. So I made a rich broth from the pig bones. And we cut it up, and we did it, and it took a couple of days to get us, it really did. But I had, 36 pints of canned antelope, and it was divine. It was just really wonderful. Anyway, so that was my first canning meat thing.
I strive to be someone cosplaying as an old person because I don't think, like, so many people are not far removed from that reality of their great aunts, their uncles, their grandmothers having land, being landed, and also producing food and taking care of their families. Food is medicine, just like any herbals you use are medicine, and to combine those two things into a practice for your life and for your home, your kids, I think is one of the most important things. And the only way you can do that is by taking it back and learning. Food as a tool of liberation, I think, is my ethos, right? I want you to sit at my table. And not only do I want you to sit at my table, I want you to be able to eat. I want you to enjoy the food. I want you to be able to talk to the people who are there because they're all friendly if they're at my table. But I think the reward is actually like the reward of life.
You know, I love to give away food. I think we have to use food not as punishment, not as humiliation, not as restriction, but as emblematic of generosity and beauty.
Just